Who's kicking us off?
Dante, kick us off.
I'm kicking us off. All right, wait. Let me.
This is all going in the intro too now, though. You know.
All right. So welcome to the Monolith Films podcast. My name is Dante. I am a co-host of this show. With me, I have the host Lee Byrne.
Hello.
And the other founder, host, co-host Nick Gillum. Today, the finale of our David Lynch retrospective.
Very exciting.
Inland Empire. Very exciting. This has Laura Dern in it. David Lynch, obviously. This is one of two films that David Lynch wrote, produced, directed, did the sound design, did fucking everything for it, right?
Yeah. What's it? Eraserhead would be the other one?
Yeah, Eraserhead is the other one.
Okay.
And, yeah.
This is fun. You've been here since day one, have you, Dante, for this retrospective? Or you missed the first?
I missed a couple. I missed Eraserhead.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I missed Wild at Heart too.
Okay.
Yes, that makes sense. But you've seen Eraserhead, right?
And Wild at Heart. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
I think the only Lynch directed movie I haven't seen is the Disney one.
Oh, which one's that?
It's the one he did 99. Go to Lynch. I don't know, but it's not written by him, so I'm not. The Straight Story.
The Elephant Man?
No, the Straight Story. If you go down.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. It's irrelevant there. You know, I don't think we're reviewing.
Is this about the guy? Yeah. Okay, this is Buddy drives a lawnmower across the country.
Yeah, just another weird Lynch movie. You know.
Yeah, this one I have not seen myself.
Yeah. So, what'd you guys think of Inland Empire?
Well, I mean, this was fun. This was the first time for me watching it. In my original retrospective, I skipped this one, or I stopped at Mulholland Drive and didn't go any further. And it kind of feels like a late career artist here. I don't know if we're going to get into it more, but what are your first impressions on it, Lee?
You know, I fucked up the intro a bit. I forgot to do the part of this is your first time seeing it? Yeah, go. Sorry.
We get into it organically.
This was my first time seeing it, and I kind of hated it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, thank fucking God. Because my first time seeing it too, and I fucking hated it.
Yeah, it kind of fucking sucked.
Yeah, this one kind of stunk. This is a bit of a stinky one.
I was kind of hoping at least one of you would like it, so I could hear some sort of opinion. Mm-hmm. But it took me 3 tries to watch this movie.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of hours.
Yeah, I had to watch it in hour chunks. Once I got through an hour, I was like, I'm taking a break.
Same.
I noticed when I wrote to the group chat, I was like, hey guys, there's another hour and a half long bonus features of all deleted scenes, and no one answered. So I guess no one's down. I guess no one's into it.
Dude, I watched it with my dad. I watched the first hour and a half with my dad.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there, I was like, fuck. I'm so scared if the other 2 motherfuckers don't fucking like it. I mean, if they like it, and there's something I'm missing here. And I imagine myself coming on a pod and be like, I fucking hate it. And Lee's just like, you know what? It's actually, and he gets it fully. And he's like, it's fucking great. And I'm just like, what do you get? There's nothing to get, bro. I don't understand this fucking movie.
I think the most confusing part of Inland Empire is why the fuck Laura Dern keeps working with David Lynch.
Yeah,
I get it's David Lynch, but this movie literally makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I have a note. Oh, sorry, Nick, go.
Oh no, go ahead.
I have a note where my mom was watching it with 2, and she wrote, mom says main character looks eternally disgusted.
Yeah.
her affect is completely off with everything she says. That's so true.
Oh, the acting in this is uncanny. It's very weird.
It's a little, but that could be the aesthetic too, lending that kind of poor image feel to everything. That very cheap aesthetic, homemade kind of look, home movie kind of thing. I have a few theories on why he would choose to make something like this and have all these.
I have a couple as well.
Yeah.
Okay, let me attempt at a synopsis summary. I'll read the Letterboxd one first. It just says an actress's perception of reality becomes increasingly distorted as she finds herself falling for her co-star in a remake of an unfinished Polish production that was supposedly cursed. That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
The reason it's so confusing for our audience who might not have seen it is that the increasing distorted, it's this fucking thing where like Laura Dern's character is playing the role in a movie of someone caught up in an affair, and then she starts to be caught up in an affair in real life with her co-star.
Yeah.
So the line between the on-camera affair and the real life affair starts to blur.
Yeah.
But while that's also happening, there's just a bunch of random other fucking shit happening too. Like Laura Dern's all of a sudden married to no longer a rich person, but a poor person who moves on into the circus. There's a group of prostitutes that live with her.
Yeah. But I think that would all be like the kind of film world.
Yeah. I mean, the movie also goes kind of back and forth in time a few times.
Yeah.
And there are a few things end up being loops. And then a few times there ends up being 2 Laura Derns in one scene.
Yeah. Well, it's the, what is it? I was thinking it as like the ghosts of the original cursed production.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's kind of tying an end to their story, but her kind of worldview is getting mixed with the world of the cinema and the world of this cursed production. And I found it all very, not confusing, but it took me out of the story every single time a new scene started almost, where you'd go, okay, she's talking a Southern accent. I guess this is part of the movie world, but what's this saying about her actual kind of life? And then how do they both play off each other? And then you go, okay, wait a second, this is her real life, but with elements of the movie. And there's this ghost character that's coming to get her. And how do these characters all go together? And I don't think it really matters, though, when you see all the characters, how they act together and how the kind of world works together. I think it's just endless scene ideas strung together. And you go, I guess so.
Yeah.
And I mean, if there's another hour and a half of unused, we have a guest on today.
David Lynch.
But if there's like an hour and a half supplementary scenes to this movie, it's not really a directed movie or a finished written piece or anything that's a whole. It's just this kind of patchwork of ideas thrown together, and you kind of get it and you kind of don't get it, and you go, I guess it's a movie, not really anything else.
Yeah, I mean, David Lynch even said himself about how he made this movie was in fragments. He would get an idea, he would film it.
Yeah.
And then he wouldn't do anything for a while, and then he'd get an idea and film it.
It really,
he never wrote a script. He never even storyboarded. He would just get an idea, film that idea with Laura Dern most of the time.
Yeah.
And then move on.
I have to say, though, to the credit of our previous retrospective, the kind of Herzog method, I find it works better for getting these kind of not grand images, but interestingly composed images, or kind of these new images that you wouldn't see. Like Herzog was always looking for something, a new image to show or new image to put on screen. And like in Mulholland Drive or something that I imagine would be meticulously written and planned and everything done to the T, we don't really get any kind of grand images. But in this movie, I found a list of fun, interesting shots where I went, oh, that's cool. That's interesting. So, I mean, maybe that method kind of works in some ways.
I think the only good part of the movie, bro, is those interesting shots.
Pretty well. Well, I mean, no story or plot or anything really to grab you or pull you in. You just go, oh, that's a cool shot. I guess I'll keep watching another 15 minutes. Like
the only real good parts of this movie was the first first minute.
Yeah.
With the blurry gray people.
Yeah.
That I thought was dope. You know, I liked it a lot. But for me, what I liked about this movie, that he does something that Lynch does in other movies that he did a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
And I mentioned it when we watched Mulholland Drive, when we reviewed Mulholland Drive. You know, it's where they're acting a scene in the movie, but it's really like it's actually fake, but you thought it was part of the actual plot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then the camera comes out and it shows you that it's part of the set. Or, you know, or like in Mulholland Drive, it was the fuck was that?
I think you got the Polish ghost in your room.
Yeah, I was going to say totally
that too. Anyways, in Mulholland Drive, the scene where she was reading the script with Rita, before the camera panned to Rita and she had the script in her hand, I thought that was part of the fucking movie. You know, that was like normal dialogue. And it bamboozles me a lot like that. And this movie does it a lot, you know? So that's where I kind of thought what the plot was, like, you know, like where like the reality of the film being made in the movie and the actual movie reality are like interweaving, and Laura Dern's like kind of hopping between these realities, right?
Yeah. Right.
Supernatural, like a very Lynchian way. But the thing is, it's just executed so poorly.
Yeah.
You know, that like there's a bunch of random scenes spread out through this movie that make no sense, that are not pertinent whatsoever. We got the director from Mulholland Drive back in the scene. I'm surprised that Laura Dern's husband in this movie wasn't fucking Billy Ray Cyrus. You know what I'm saying? That would have been hilarious. Dude. I wish, you know?
Just arms crossed.
Yeah. And there's a lot of shots in this movie that I thought were like interesting, but in a bad way. Like they're just like, I was like, why are you shooting this like this? You know, like there's one where you know, the first time we see them in the hangar reading the script.
Yeah.
And then the director and his boy comes and they say, hey, there's a guy, who's that? You know? The first time this scene happens, right?
You're fucking on point today, Lee, with picking out the moments.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't remember when it was. But yeah, this scene, right? If you go to 26 minutes exactly. So you see they have these like over like these shots here. Yeah. This angle, like the camera's looking like this. What the fuck is that? And they're long.
Not the prettiest.
But it's like what? It's not immersive at all. It makes me feel like I'm standing above them, you know, like on a balcony staring at them do this. You know, it's fucking weird. Yeah, like what is this? These 180 like conversation shots, but the camera's coming from this angle. It's like really weird, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like to your point earlier, where you were saying that the kind of jumping between worlds and through time was poorly executed. I agree completely. Like with a story like this, or with an idea like this, where you want to jump between so much, you'd either need a very powerful story for the audience to kind of be, what's going to happen to this character next? Oh my God, you know, like there has to be some kind of building progression to the narrative. Or if you don't want to have a narrative or a story at all, you would need beautiful images or something to keep the people captivated. And here we have neither of those.
Like, I don't want to be reminded that it's a movie, you know? It makes the immersion shots like this because I'm aware of the camera here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's one where, like, you know, like the beginning where the Polish woman comes to talk to Laura Dern.
Yeah.
And she's like all fucking weird, and she's all like, "What is, you know?"
Oh, dude, the close-ups in this movie are the fucking insane, and there are too many of them.
And just out of focus, also nice.
Yeah,
they got everything. This, like, fisheye lens, bro, doing all of it, right?
Yeah, I think they put a fisheye clip on an old Nokia phone and filmed it with fucking that.
Yeah. I did some research on the camera here, and it doesn't really make sense, the choice.
Like Laura Dern, camera super stable on a tripod, you know, like this, right?
Yeah.
You go back to the Polish woman, it's handheld. Camera's right here in her fucking face, and she's like, well, there's a murder, you know, I don't think so. Let's get the fuck out of my face, you know? It's like she's holding a GoPro and talking to Laura Dern. You know? It's fucking weird.
It is very strange. But, I mean, she's a strange character.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I do agree that it's like,
this looks like a trainee interview video. Like when it goes to Laura Dern, the way her close up is set up, it looks like a early 2000s like warehouse ad. You know,
it's like a business portfolio in the about section of a blinds company or something. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You go, oh, nice. Hi, I'm Laura. I work with fabrics.
Yeah.
So what camera did they use?
Here they said it's a Sony XD cam, which is like a camcorder.
Yeah.
like what a normal kind of point and shoot with the zoom, and like it doesn't have a detachable lens or anything. So I think they're limited in this entire shoot to the range that this camera does. So it's either zoom out full and it's a wide angle, or maybe like you were saying, Lee, there's some kind of wide attachment on it to get these big wide shots, because the edges are so blurry sometimes. It looks just absolutely terrible for these wide shots.
Fish-eyed, bro.
Oh yeah, fully. So they might have just put a big round lens on the end of this camcorder to get these wide shots, and the rest, all the zooms, that's all in-house stuff. And when it's the close-ups, I guess he just backed up and zoomed in as much as he could. And like, there's no blur on these early cameras. Like everything is in focus. It's just like, I don't know, if it was something like this, you'd want to shoot it with a lot of light, like the most light you can. So it kind of looks, it brings up the image a bit.
Yeah.
And I mean,
like using bad cameras or old cameras, like shitty cameras, you can still make a beautiful movie but you have to control your light impeccably, you know?
Exactly. They're shooting this like a moody kind of dark melodrama. And I don't know if that was a choice to hide the digital look of it, but it just looks like, oh my God, what the heck is going on?
No, Nick, I think they just didn't care too much about light at all, you know?
Yeah, I looked here. Yeah, it's like
Trash Humpers.
Their camera.
Trash Humpers is a nice example of a movie that's filmed with bad cameras but looks fucking cool.
Yeah. Well, like the kind of aesthetic there lends to the story, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Inland Empire, I'm not gaining anything from the poor image.
Yeah, like Inland Empire is filmed like Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
Straight
like
up.
for no reason that I can tell.
If they didn't use any tripods or was more handheld and like cinema verite documentary style, like Trailer Park Boys or something, it would feel more like, okay, we're getting in on this. This is like a behind the scenes of the production or something.
Yeah.
But with the tripods and the weird angles you're talking about, Dante, it really works against itself.
Yeah, and it like when you watch it, what the fuck is going on with my camera? Sorry.
I also think they might have shot it interlaced instead of progressive, you know? So you see like horizontal lines sometimes as the image refreshes. So like, I don't know, it's really old digital looking. And like the camera they used was from 2003 Sony XD cam. And this was 2006, I guess. And in 2006, you could get, it would be really hard, but you could get a cinema grade digital camera. Like I have here, Star Wars 2 from 2002 is all digital, but it's a digital cinema camera. Like it was the first production cinema digital camera. And that movie looks like an early kind of 2000s movie. Like you can tell the computer generated images, but when it's Obi-Wan Kenobi walking around, it looks like a movie. It looks like a studio budget movie. Here, this just looks absolutely terrible, and it's 4 years later with an older camera. I mean,
I think they did that because David Lynch wanted to, you know, get shit on the fly, right?
Yeah. Well,
he wanted to have a really portable camera that he could dispense, that he could drop, so he could do like. And it's a $3 million film. It's a low budget for a movie, you know. It's not like Star Wars, you know.
No, exactly. But I mean, it feels here like he's almost like with all the cameos and like almost every character in here is some kind of known character actor. Most of them, you know. And it feels like he's almost asking for favors, going like, "Hey, remember when I helped you out with this? Can you come to my movie and do 2 weeks?"
Something like that. Yeah.
It feels like that, and like he's using old studio lots, like he's going to Warner Brothers or something, going, "Hey, you're not using the back lot. Can I go film?" It feels like he's just like pulling favors in this movie and shooting a 4-hour.
How much pizza you think you fucking gave out to Laura Dern, bro? Like this when I was watching this, it felt like a high school or CEGEP student film.
That's what I was going to say. It's interesting that Nick, you mentioned it felt like an older artist or whatever you said.
Yeah.
Because I also felt it was giving me very strong high school project impressions.
Yeah.
It felt like a high school student who thinks he's an artist, trying to make an art house film. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah. It like there's I don't know if it's a saying, but it's kind of something you notice with these kind of artists when you can look at their career and they have a long enough career, like Lynch, where you see the kind of the birth of the auteur, and then you follow those kind of motifs through. And then late in the career, it's almost like they're parodying themselves. They go back on their earlier work and go, I'm just going to redo this, but a little different. And it feels like it's someone else trying to make a Lynch movie. Like you're saying, a kid who's watched maybe too many Lynch movies, watched Eraserhead 10 times in Mulholland Drive every night. He does this himself. Like we kind of saw that with Fellini when we watched Satyricon and then Casanova. Like Satyricon, I'd say that's one of my favorite movies. And then Casanova is one of the fucking worst movies we watched. But it's the same guy just like 20 years later or something. And he's using the same style, the same trick. Yeah. But you go, this is like someone like making fun of Fellini who's trying to act like Fellini or something. It doesn't feel like the artist itself. It feels like you're parodying the artist or trying to emulate the artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just Lynch bringing his own motifs to such an extreme that it becomes like quasi parody.
But do you think that Lynch actually intended that though?
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think Lynch intended anything with this movie.
No,
I think he literally just filmed a bunch of scrap pieces and then just fucking put them together into a 3-hour thing and said, all right, I'm done making movies.
Well, it would have been 4.5 hours with the extra features and everything.
Yeah.
And we have like excerpts and stuff from Rabbits and other like video projects that he's done. Mm-hmm. It's almost like he had other stuff and went, how can I incorporate this? How can I put this in and tie it as loosely as possible?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think Lynch, he said that he got, when he first started making films, his point was to, or his goal was to make paintings move. Mm-hmm. And I think, and I feel like you said, Nick, he's bringing his motifs to such an extreme here that this is as close as he feels he can get to making a painting move. Mm-hmm. This is what he imagined it would be like if a painting could move. So he stopped. Right, because this was his last feature length, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he just went back to painting, and then I think he's made like short films and stuff like that. But
probably.
I mean, like, what did Jack do?
Well, yeah, I like that more than this.
Oh fuck yeah, dude!
Me too.
Another point I had against this movie was I found it was very much over edited.
Like, yes. Oh my god.
And he's just cutting and everything, and then you have 10 reverse shots that hold for like 1 second each, and you go, you're just saving a cutting to the reverse shot. Like, I don't know.
You could, because David Lynch edited this movie.
Yeah. It feels like it's unplanned and thrown together.
Yeah, you can tell. There's one, Lee, if you go back to the movie, there's one shot at 25:45, and it's a shot of the director and his like assistant, this guy, doing nothing. And it lasts for a long time, this shot. This is a long shot. And it's of nothing, and then it cuts. But it was longer. It's like, I think you got to the middle of it, but it's way longer than that. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like they sit down. Oh, I remember this. Well, yeah, it's literally like 20 seconds almost.
Yeah, and they're just like, it's like the actors are literally waiting for him to say cut. That's this shot. This shot right here is them two. They're just waiting for David Lynch to say cut, and he's not doing it. He like forgot or something.
You know who's the Misfits singer? Danzig?
Yeah.
He directed a movie, Erotica.
Yeah.
He directed a movie based on the comic book he wrote.
Yeah, you told me. Yeah,
literally every scene. At the end of every scene is literally the actors looking at the camera like, "Are we cutting?"
Oh, that rocks.
It's so fucking bad.
Yeah, you mentioned that movie when we did Bad Biology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because we were going through like the shittiest movies on Letterboxd, and that was one of them.
Yeah,
and you said exactly what you just said. You said it like verbatim.
Well, speaking of Bad Biology, I kind of want to redeem myself from that episode, and another Henenlotter masterpiece just went up on Tubi. It's Basket Case is up now streaming, so maybe in future, if you guys want to return to the nonsense of Henenlotter. Hey, what is that? My copy from 10 years ago?
Yep.
Give me that back.
I mean, Lynch edited Eraserhead himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he wasn't a famous yet. So like there was no like he wasn't like super artsy fartsy about it, you know?
Yeah, it does almost feel like he's trying too hard.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same time,
yeah,
based on his own words, he didn't try hard at all because he would just fucking grab a fucking camcorder, walk out into the street with Laura Dern in Hollywood and say, okay, fucking die on the floor or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's almost the failure of the movie too.
Yeah. But the thing is, this is the type of movie where like, if you read the reviews, a lot of people like it. They think it's genius, but then you're like, those are people that literally like this movie just because it has David Lynch's name on it.
Yeah.
And they're assuming that it has some sort of intent and that it's good because it's David Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if you take David Lynch's name off this fucking movie, it's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible.
I'm a little shocked here by the average Letterboxd rating.
Yeah, me too.
7 out of 5. That seems leaps and bounds over. I mean, I don't want to spoil the end, but what we're gonna rate it.
Yeah,
I think it definitely feels like David Lynch at his most David Lynch, but it's almost too much.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
I found it like it played on the fact that it was David Lynch too much. Like you're relying that the audience is in on the world of David Lynch, and you go, "Oh, I know this motif. Oh, I bet there's going to be you know." Like if you're in that kind of mindset, the kind of Lynchian mindset, you go, "Okay, this is another just an art piece. This is a video. This is a digital project, an early digital exploration." But I mean, it doesn't make it a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you would have uploaded this in clips to YouTube, in like 15-minute chunks, it would have made for a much better project than publishing it as a fucking 3-hour movie.
I have to say, seeing it on the small screen adds to it, though. Like, I started watching it on my computer, and I thought I had the wrong resolution. I was like, what the fuck? Am I 120p or something? What's the deal here? But that was like the full quality of it. And then when I switched over, I watched maybe half an hour on my phone, and it looked like, oh, okay, this just looks like a kind of a low-res copy of something. And I wasn't so shocked or so taken out by the low image.
You could take it one step further and watch it from the dark web.
Yeah.
And I'll be good.
If you just squint.
This movie, bro, like, I like what he tried to do with it. Like, that whole concept of the movie being made in the movie and the reality of her reality interweaving, and she's all confused, like Lost Highway.
Yeah.
You know? But like, I like that concept, but it's such a grueling movie to watch.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours long. It's fucking boring to watch.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. There's nothing that grabs you into this movie. And like, go. I lost my thought already. It's just another fucking Lynch movie about Hollywood. Like, I don't give a fuck.
That's what I was going to say. It feels like he literally did Lost Highway plus Mulholland Drive equals Inland Empire, but let me make it bad instead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what this feels like, because it's all the same themes, all the same motifs, just fucking filmed on the go for some reason.
Yeah, but not
with no plan.
Just plot wise, the plot. It's about Hollywood.
Yeah, that's it.
And women in Hollywood. But the thing is, Mulholland Drive, there was more to it. You know, it was also about love. Mulholland Drive. It was also about dreams. It's all about guilt and all that shit. Lost Highway was all about, you know, it was also kind of about love. It was also about the supernatural and all the time realities. This is just about women in Hollywood. And the thing is, he's talking about the woman's place in Hollywood and how fucked up it is. But he himself is not a woman, you know? Like, for me, so a big topic of discussion in the fine arts is the male gaze, you know?
Yes.
Where if like let's say, for example, if I was at school and I painted a chick, or like I painted a beautiful woman or whatever, and this whole painting was about women, you know? The thing is, if it's just a woman as a character in my painting and the painting wasn't about the realities and had nothing to do with themes about women and what it means to be a woman, then it's fine. But if I'm making a painting and someone can perceive it as me talking about the experience of being a woman and what certain scenarios feel like as a woman, and like, if I'm touching on the experience of the reality of being a woman, it's completely invalid just for the fact that I can never know what that experience is. I'm assuming, no matter how good it is, I'm a dude. Yeah. I can never know. I'll never know. You know. So the thing is, when Lynch, sorry, Nick, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. The thing is, Lynch makes this movie, and it's about like you kind of get a sense that one of the main themes is women's place in Hollywood and how like all that shit. But the thing is, like, Lynch wrote, directed, produced everything in this movie, and like, what's he know about being a woman in Hollywood? You know, probably not a lot. You know, and for some reason he has something for blonde white chicks all the time. Every fucking protagonist in all his movies, the blonde white chick. You know,
Laura Dern's available.
Laura Dern, Laura Palmer, Naomi Watts. You know what I'm saying?
That also might be a comment on Hollywood itself, though.
Yeah, the perfect women, Aryan looking.
Yeah, because he does tend to flip the whole femme fatale thing on its head. So using blonde white chicks might be a jab at Hollywood.
Yeah. Like, did my tirade just there make sense, or did that make no sense?
No, of course, yeah, it definitely made sense, and I agree fully. And I every theory I've heard about Inland Empire, and I researched a few, all fall into the same kind of pitfall where their whole thesis relies way too heavily on one specific scene.
Yeah.
Because as a whole, this movie, I don't think you're even meant to think about it. I think you're meant to just experience it and then move on.
Yeah, and you want to suck on a gun the whole fucking time.
Yeah, I think, Dante, before you were saying about the male gaze.
Yeah, I was wondering if I sounded crazy, but Lee was agreeing with me.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, when you're outside of that kind of group, you can only get so close to the actual kind of truth of it.
Yeah.
So like maybe Lynch is at the edge of whatever truth he can get to.
Assuming.
Yeah.
I have to ask some chick, you know?
Yeah, but even then, let's say this movie is about a woman's place in Hollywood.
Yeah.
What is the movie saying about a woman's place in Hollywood?
I don't fucking know.
That it sucks? That she'll cheat on her husband? Like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not even clear what he's saying about these topics.
Yeah.
It's just that the topic is there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when I first heard that this movie was about a woman's place in Hollywood, I was like, what? So what, Lynch thinks chicks in movies cheat on their husbands? Is like, that's all I got from it. Like, is he saying don't hire women because they'll cheat?
I think maybe
obviously not, but
yeah, but like the barrage of production and I don't know, expectation that she just goes nuts in the end, something like that.
Like, that whole premise feels like it's based 100% on this one scene.
Yeah, pretty well.
And that's what I was saying before, is that every theory I've heard about this movie relies so heavily on one single scene.
And is this one?
Pardon?
And is this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is the only hint that we get that women are overly objectified in Hollywood, and everyone thinks she's going to be seduced by this womanizer.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's being presented on the talk show as being weak-minded and all that stuff. But everywhere else in the movie, it's that message is nowhere near as clearly come across.
Yeah.
And then, like, I've heard some other theories about how the movie is just about the dangers of hedonism. Okay. And like, you have Laura Dern, she succumbs to her lust and she chooses to cheat.
Yeah.
And then she becomes haunted by all these other so-called whores who also chose that life. And her life ends up being ruined because of it. But that's completely ignoring every other aspect of the movie.
Yeah.
I saw one where this dude was saying how the movie is really about the power of art, and that if you and that whole theory was based on the one scene here in the end where this character, who I think is called the Lost Woman, or the Lost Girl, she watches the movie that Nikki Grace, Laura Dern's character, is making that makes her lose her mind. And now the Lost Girl watches that movie, and without having to go through that same painful experience, lives it vicariously through the film, and decides not to cheat on her husband and instead leave the hotel room and go back to her family. And I'm like, okay, fine, but that also ignores literally the rest of the fucking movie.
What?
That's what I'm saying. It's like every single theory about this movie is just someone picks their favorite scene and analyzes that one scene.
Yeah. I mean, I was imagining that Lost Girl as the kind of original Polish or original German actress who never got her, her time in the limelight, or her story tied at the end. She was murdered or whatever in the original production. And then Laura Dern finishing it and getting through the ordeal. I guess her life goes back to normal at the end, and then the original lady's story is finished and she's no longer in this limbo room. And I mean, none of it's good.
Like the curse is lifted kind of thing?
Yeah.
Because Laura Dern doesn't get murdered on set?
Yeah, she kills the Phantom. I thought you were talking the hedonism. I thought you meant they had too many hot dogs at that backyard barbecue.
Oh, I literally have a note here that just says, "Wanna hot dog?" The pause that guy took in that line is so stupid. Yeah. Also, I'm really bad with faces, so I could not tell when two characters were the same actor and when they weren't.
Yeah.
I thought for a while every character was played by Harry Dean Stanton. I thought her Polish husband was Harry Dean Stanton. I thought the director's assistant, well, he actually is Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah.
I just thought every time I saw someone who wasn't this guy.
Yeah.
It was Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, anyone who wasn't Justin Theroux in this movie, no.
I like
Jeremy Irons.
Justin Theroux, no. His sideburns changed throughout the movie.
Anyways, anyone who wasn't him, I thought was Harry Dean Stanton, and it just made life very difficult.
I didn't think it made it any more or less confusing, though.
Okay. Like when Laura Dern's character is in the suburbs and they're having that barbecue.
Yeah.
Is her husband the same Polish husband as when she's rich?
I think so.
That's the same actor?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What's that about?
Is that
Who
a
knows, right?
question?
Yeah, okay. Because like a few things you can piece together, right? Like when Laura Dern is playing, I think that her character in the movie is Susan. When Laura Dern is playing Nikki Grace playing Susan.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell, okay, this is the movie within the movie.
Yeah. Well, she's got the kind of Southern affect. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you think it's Nikki Grace because she's with her Polish husband, but now they're not rich anymore.
Yeah.
And they're having a barbecue with a bunch of Polish circus performers. So was that... What was that?
I think that would just be the kind of two worlds mixing.
But what part of what world is what? Like, does Susan lose her riches after having an affair with Billy? And now Nikki Grace is being delusional and inserting her own husband into the film? Or,
Yeah. I thought of it more as the husband being inserted in the film, but I mean, any way you look at it, it doesn't make more or less
sense. But there's no explanation given to us as to why Susan's character would all of a sudden be having a barbecue at this house. Because even in the movie, Susan and Billy, the movie within the movie, Susan and Billy are presented as pretty wealthy characters. We see Billy lives in a mansion with his wife and kid. Right?
Yeah, sure.
So why the fuck is Susan having a barbecue in fucking Alabama?
I mean, these could all be nonsense memories and her conjecture of what she thinks the character's coming up with, and her own memories mixing up. And I mean, you can play devil's advocado with it, but I don't think I don't know if any kind of analysis here will lead us anywhere, because I think it's just unplanned, just thrown together stuff.
I agree.
I think the only good one was the one that Lee said earlier, where I had the seizure, and he was like, the girl watching the TV experienced the makings of this movie vicariously because the movie was so fucking good.
Yeah, Nikki Grace's performance was so good.
It's so expressive that you could see the pain and anguish she went through during the production of the movie, outside of the movie, you know?
I think I like to think that the Lost Girl was actually so moved by Terry Crews's performance.
That was Terry Crews. Okay, good.
Just half his face in the background.
Yeah.
What was the point of? That's right before this, right?
Yeah.
Also, I you know how like we were talking about the acting earlier and how like the acting's kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, so one scene I noticed is like, you know, the first time they do the table read, just Laura Dern and I just call him director guy because that's how I know him.
Yeah. Justin Theroux though?
Justin Theroux. This scene here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Laura Dern's acting in this scene, or when Nikki is acting in the scene, it's very good acting. It's very good.
Right.
But the whole movie, Laura Dern acts like shit. And it was like, it's like, you know, the scenes in the movie where like Laura Dern's getting interviewed by like a detective?
Yeah.
The guy with the glasses in the attic of the fucking burlesque club? Yeah, okay.
So, you know when she's like swearing on, she's like, that fucker over there, she's like, fuck him, you know?
Yeah.
That felt so much like a student acting in their first film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just throwing swear words in there because they think that's how people authentically speak.
Yeah.
Which is interesting too, because that's supposed to be part of the movie Nikki Grace is filming.
Yeah.
So shouldn't she be acting just as good as she is here?
Exactly. Yeah.
Consistency wise?
Exactly.
Well,
it's like,
yeah.
Yeah, go Nick. I lost my thought.
She had a bruised lip, so in the story of the movie, the good actor got beat out of her.
When do you see? I think the one thing I did like about this movie is that at the very end, we get this part where you see the Terry Crews' girlfriend, homeless girlfriend.
Yeah.
You see her friends. Right, she's telling the story about there's the girl with the one leg, and then the other girl with the blonde wig and the pet monkey.
Yeah,
I just like that these characters are now all of a sudden involved.
Well, I heard a story that Lynch was just kind of coming up with dialogue on the spot, and then he said, "I need a lady with one leg and a monkey on set tomorrow," and they go, "Oh, okay, sure," and they just brought him in.
Totally.
I have one more note here. It's kind of like, I don't know, you might have read this too when we were doing the old art school kind of stuff there, Dante, that in defense of the poor image, it was like talking about video stuff and like how you can take the power back by you have the power to make your own big movies because anyone can make movies now kind of thing. But I mean, in something like this, it really doesn't work. And I kind of don't believe that really, because I mean,
even for another movie where it did work, if you said that during a lecture, I would have sighed my dick off.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's like,
it's another movie about movies.
Yeah.
It's another movie about the fact that it's a movie. Like it's so pretentiously postmodern, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, like,
I know what you're saying.
Like quality and resolution, it's so easy to achieve good production value now with
nothing.
Yeah, shoestring budgets. That even something like this, it looks like it was shot on his asshole or something.
Yeah,
but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
there are some movies that do it really good, you know, like that. You know,
well, you're saying garbage humpers before, like
trash humpers.
I was thinking garbage thumpers. My mistake.
some good horror movies do it, you know.
Oh, for sure. Every found footage horror movie.
You know.
Rec. For sure, Rec uses the same camera as this one.
Oh yeah,
the same camera, Rec.
I think so. What year did Rec come out?
Bro, I watched Rec at Fantasia.
It's so good.
So Rec's a good movie.
2007. Yeah. So. Easily could have been the same camera.
Easily. Yeah.
Actually, it looks a little better.
Yeah. But I mean, like Lynch's camera that he's using, it's not even like a prosumer camera. It's like a off-the-shelf
pawn shop camera.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a home movie camera to film an actual backyard barbecue, and they did.
What would have been really cool? What would have been really good if with that theme, Nick?
Yeah.
Is if he filmed I'm just gonna call it the reality of the film.
Yeah.
In the shitty camera. But when we were actually watching the scenes of the movie being made in the film, there's a high budget camera.
It'd be great. And
that would work then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see he has some kind of Panavision camera there in some of the shots, or at least he has the film holster. I mean, who knows if it was loaded or anything, or if it's just an empty shell of a camera.
It's a mock-up out of cardboard.
I think it might be.
Oh, like you said, Nick, they're probably just in the back of some set, some studio. Yeah. And he asked, hey, can I fucking film this camera? Don't worry, we won't use it.
Exactly. It feels like it's all favors that he's asking for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean.
But it's weird because this scene implies that we're not even seeing that camera either.
No.
Like at 0 point, this scene, the way that it zooms out from a perspective other than the film camera, implies that anytime we're seeing Nikki Grace act as Susan, we are not seeing the actual movie. We're seeing some third perspective.
Yes, because this is after some close-ups, right?
Yeah.
And with the camera, with the big cinema camera there, he's showing us this camera like as if we were to assume that those close-ups from earlier were taken from that camera. You know?
Yeah.
And we were watching the movie through this camera's perspective, the one we see.
Yeah.
But the quality doesn't show it.
No.
The scenes, the close-ups from earlier, were filmed on the same stupid fucking pawn shop Sony camera.
Yeah.
As the whole movie, you know?
Interesting one to end it off on. I find it does tie a nice knot on the Lynch kind of retrospective, though. We see the whole gamut of the whole spectrum of Lynch and his rise, and then maybe, if you want to call it a fall here at the end, but at least some kind of later career interesting choices.
Yeah. I am glad we did it.
Yeah.
I think maybe I'll appreciate the movie more in like 20 years if I decide to watch it again.
Yeah.
And not think about it, just sit there for 3 hours and just watch it and not think. Maybe 2 months after that, I'll think back to watching it and think, wasn't that bad.
I'll bet against it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll see you in 20 years.
If I'm going to sit there and not think, I'd rather watch Lord of the Rings again, you know?
Yeah, fair enough.
Hours, right?
I have a note at an hour, 37 and 20 seconds if there's a bad transition. Oh, this pissed me off. What was that?
You don't like the speed rant.
Oh, God. I forgot about that. It's so terrible.
Oh, there you go.
So fucking corny.
Yeah, well.
It was out of a music video or something.
And even like there's like this weird like sound distortion to that scene too. It's just so jarring and stupid.
It looked like that the speed thing with the clouds.
Yeah.
That is something that would go well in a Yasujiro Ozu movie, you know?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he always does those like pillow cutaways, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm talking about? Like those weird cutaways that it's of nothing, but like it's like
Ozu.
like
it's just the shots of a chair in the corner and a window like that, and down a hallway.
Yeah, or like
some
laundry waving in the wind.
Yeah, as an auteur kind of motif, though, it works for Ozu when you see it happen over and over again, and it adds.
Literally, master's theses are written about Ozu's shots like that. You know,
yeah,
go into it. You know,
mm-hmm.
I'm not smart enough to talk about it. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, he's pretty well tuned in with composition. Like you won't get much better composition than an Ozu sit down movie.
Yeah. Exactly.
Fun fact about Ozu, he only shot with a 50mm lens, and the camera was always, I think, 1.5 feet off the ground or 3 feet off the ground, always. So he came with one tripod and one lens and shot every one of his movies like that.
Stickler like that with those types of things, you know he's going to have good compositions, you know?
Yeah, and I think only a handful of times is there ever any camera movement. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I think there might be camera movement, but it's always a static shot.
Interesting.
Yeah. Fun enough.
A lot of artists tend to say that the more you restrict your creative process, the more creative you become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not all the time here. If we see he's restricting his aesthetic and we get this.
But I think Lynch went the complete other way. I think Lynch gave himself so much creative freedom that he ended up just taking a shit.
That too? Yeah.
Yeah. Another fun fact about Ozu is that he's one of the only people ever had a unique take on, like, you know, like the 180 rule.
Yeah.
Nick, do you know what the 180 rule is?
Yeah.
I mean Lee. You know what the 180 rule is?
Yes.
Ozu in one movie, I forgot which movie it is. He's the only one that had a different take on how that should be done, and it's the only one that kind of works. Where instead, when two people have a conversation, instead of doing the 180, they're looking straight into the camera, and it cuts back and forth between the two people staring into the camera.
Mm-hmm. I think I know the scene you're talking about. Is it in a bar, kind of?
Yeah, they're like at a table.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think that's you just had it up there, Lee, in late afternoon or late August or something.
Late autumn,
yeah.
Late spring or late autumn.
It's autumn afternoon. Autumn. I think it's autumn afternoon.
Oh, this one. Autumn afternoon.
I believe it's that one.
Yeah.
That's a good flick though.
Dude, Ozu's all this shit's good, you know?
Yeah.
I think Ozu is Michael Cera's favorite director.
Oh yeah?
Yes, I actually think so too. Yeah. You watched that Criterion video.
Yeah.
Which one? The closet videos?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. I also have a footnote here. If you go to 2320 on Inland Empire.
Yep.
We see a cameo by our favorite co-host, Nick Gillum. Kind of.
Here.
That's the guy who says she has a nice ass, though.
That does literally sound like it's pulled out of some high school student's thing. Just think of anything to say. Say something raunchy.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Fucking his entourage.
I have a handful of little just throwaway notes here. The title card seems out of place. The title card's a high quality kind of computer generated thing, and then the rest is just this terrible 360p shot stuff. And then there's one shot with the lighting guy. We never see him, but we hear, "Bucky, the lights, turn the lights up." I thought that was kind of a funny
Lynch cameo.
Is it him? Yeah, I was wondering if it was his voice. Okay.
Yeah.
And then my last note here is that the end of the movie, the Nina Simone Sinnerman credit sequence, that makes the movie for me, I think. If just there was no dancing movie and it was just the end kind of dance scene, that'd be enough for me. I do love that song. I wouldn't have imagined it in this situation, though.
No. Nina Simone's one of my mom's favorite singers, too.
Yeah. And you got this guy cutting wood. You got all the prostitutes dancing. You have I don't know, it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, here you just go, okay, it's all nonsense. It doesn't matter. It's just try and enjoy it.
That's one thing I missed about the early 2000s was these dance sequences in music videos and R&B videos.
Yeah.
Like in an Usher video, they're all like the dance, you know, and there's like the 5 guys behind them, and they're all wearing baggy clothes. I love that shit.
The other sequence in here when they're in that kind of opium den of prostitution, and they all get into that dance montage for.
That's what I'm looking for.
Locomotion.
Yeah.
That was a little out of the blue, and that was fun too. Yeah, watch out where you're scrubbing in this scene too. I think we get some boobies for no reason.
Oh, I marked it. It's an hour 28 are the tits. I marked them.
Boy, you want to go back to it after the podcast?
It's near this too.
Yeah.
Anyways, everyone knows the locomotion scene.
Yeah, fun enough.
Mm-hmm. Definitely my least favorite song and dance number out of a Lynch film, though.
For sure. Well, you want to rank them? We are doing the finale here. We can go back on any one of the movies we've done so far and pick our favorites, talk about the motifs.
Well, does anyone have any closing remarks on Inland Empire? I really don't have that much to say.
I'm out of notes. I mean, it kind of sucked.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I feel like people that like this movie, they like it just because it has David Lynch's name on it, you know?
Yeah.
But if it wasn't a Lynch movie, people would shit on this fucking thing hard, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I agree, man. Like, this movie just fucking...
It blows. It fucking blows.
If it wasn't a Lynch movie, I don't think it would have been produced or financed or distributed. I don't think just his name, I think, lends everything to this movie.
Bro, it lends literally the cameras to this movie.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I don't really like 5 stars, bro. You're smoking crack. I'm sorry, dude. Now I'm scared to walk through my dark house to go to bed. Maybe the best film ever. What?
This is a guy who's just scared of Polish people. They're gonna have sausage, potato-based dumplings.
Do you even bother reading the reviews?
I don't know. Let's check out another 5-star. I feel like David Lynch is directing my life because I don't know what that guy was saying.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, it's all good. Terry Crews ? He gave 5 stars. That's not a.
Terry Crews, it was a fun shot. I did like the shot of Terry Crews, though.
Yeah, I like his one line.
You will like this movie if you like David Lynch, but if you don't like this movie, you don't like David Lynch. Take it with a grain of salt, though.
I mean, valid, but that's not really a 5-star.
Yeah.
You know?
Who's the Emperor? Terrible.
Yeah, also, why is it called Inland Empire? I know Inland Empire is like a borough in LA or whatever, but no part of this movie is in Inland Empire. There's like one mention of it.
It's literally in Poland more than it's in Inland
Empire.
Yeah. Yep.
I think like the Inland Empire, you would imagine like it would be more Hollywood, something, a title like this with what the story's about and where they're shooting. Because I think Inland Empire is more suburbs.
I think it's a pretty bad neighborhood from what I've heard.
Yeah. Well, I think
crack
it's like
suburbs.
Yeah, it's like deep in or maybe that's like that Terry Crews scene would be more that kind of feel.
No, they're on the Hollywood Boulevard. They're lying down on the stars.
Oh, is it the stars?
Yeah.
No.
The only place that looked like it could have been Inland Empire, based on what I've read about Inland Empire, is the fucking barbecue cookout.
Pretty well, yeah.
But like, what's the point of that? Unless you need some like weird Lynchian perspective on the sub-reality of LA to understand this fucking movie.
That could be it, though.
It could be.
Yeah.
Maybe this movie rocks for locals. You want to go to some 1-star reviews? Because I don't know where the hell these 5 stars are coming from.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, these are all, I don't know, they're wizards, bro. 1 stars, let's check them out.
Film makes no sense, ? I still don't know about it. I hated it. So much hate. Why ?
There you go.
Oh, here's one. Now, if you're filming the movie on a Sony DCR VX1000, I don't think that's the camera. I think it's a Sony XD cam.
Yeah, I think the Sony VX, isn't this what they film skate videos with?
Super wide?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
Totally.
Yeah, this is what they film skate videos with.
Yeah, I'm not sure that this is the same camera.
No, but it does kind of look like a skate video sometimes.
We will never in a trillion years experience the film. You'll think we experienced it, but you'll be cheated. It's such a sadness that you think we've seen a film of your fucking Sony DCR VX1000. Get real. Yeah, I guess so. He's just mad at the quality.
I guess, yeah. I hate that I hated it because I love Lynch's work, but honestly, I just couldn't get on board with this in any way and had to skip to the end. Not that it really matters how it ends, because none of anything I saw in the first half made any sense to me whatsoever.
I like the comment where it's like, yo, I only made it 20 minutes in. Fire.
I made it, the first time I tried watching it, I made it 8 minutes in and then gave up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Let me check where the 8-minute mark is, because this is when I gave up.
Oh, yeah. Well, when you see the close-up of the Polish husband and it's just a white background, you go, what the hell are you even thinking? Yeah, this guy's terrible overacting. Or this isn't the husband. This is someone else. It
was just this scene where it just blurs, but then the scene isn't over. Like, that wasn't a transition. I was like, okay, I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck that.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's horrible.
That's so stupid.
Notice that. That's horrible.
But then why would you transition to the same scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched it. I was watching with my dad, and we got an hour and 18 minutes in before me and him were just like, fuck this.
Yeah, what's an hour and 18?
I don't even know. Yeah, like just before this.
Yeah. Dude, it's so stupid. None of this fucking shit makes sense, man. Oh, yeah, this was weird.
That's my favorite shot, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Her burning the hole in the thing.
Oh, yeah, we haven't done that, eh? Oh, okay, let's do that. Let's do favorite shots. Here we go. Dante's up first.
Yeah, here we go. She puts the chag on the dress, and the smoke's coming through her fingers. That was a good shot. I thought it wasn't really the shot that was good. It was just what was happening in it. It was very creative, I find. Like, this was very cool. I liked it.
This is the only sequence that struck me as visually pleasing. You guys, Nick, you mentioned that this sort of free-form filmmaking lends to finding beautiful images. Yeah. I thought this whole movie front to back, except for that one sequence, just looked like shit. Not just because of the cameras, but everything about it just looked so ordinary.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you had the quality there and you had the budget, stuff like this would look pretty good.
This sequence, but like cut to anywhere else, this is just stupid.
I also really like the sequence at the very beginning of the film with the blurry faces and the gray.
Yeah, true.
This is really cool. Like, I enjoyed this. I liked watching this.
I just wish the blur wasn't terrible.
No, but I like that because it's so weird. I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is my favorite part of the whole movie. This sequence over here.
I think if ever someone's like, hey, do you want to watch Inland Empire? I'm going to say yes and just watch the Rabbit sitcom instead.
Yeah.
Because these were my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
Any of this stuff I liked. I marked the only shot I actually marked down was if I could find it. It's like somewhere around 44 minutes. 40 minutes and 41 seconds. I think it's just the letterboxed banner. Oh no, it's this. It just made me laugh. When Freddy's asking for money.
Yeah.
And then he just checks and he's staring right at him. This made me laugh.
There's one other sequence in the movie that I thought was actually really good. It's probably the only time watching this movie where I actually felt like it was a movie. Was, like again where they're reading the script in the hangar with the director and Freddy. But the second time where Laura Dern comes in.
Okay, yeah.
From the back,
That's right. That's when she walks into the that room for the first time.
Yeah. And then
here it is.
Yeah, here it is. And then they look back at her. This was very good. I liked this.
Me too.
Yeah, I liked this.
Yeah, I was like, okay, hold up. There's still 2 hours of this shit show left. This might get good.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it didn't.
Exactly how I felt.
Yeah, I felt that too.
Yeah, this is where this scene is where I was like, okay, there's something to this movie, And then that something never came, And I love when they this type of shot where they're staring to the camera like this, like as if you're the intruder.
Yeah,
I love it. I love shots like this, and paintings too. Any sort of media photography we're staring at you like you're an intruder. That thing is sick, you know? Yeah. Nick, what about you? What's your fucking shot of the movie?
I have a bit of a list here.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed we have 6 minutes here, so I'm gonna go through fast. But I have 57:55.
57:55.
His husband in a blue doorway.
That's just after what I marked as the worst jump scare in film history.
Yeah.
At 57 minutes, that's the worst jump scare ever. But continue. Sorry.
What was the jump scare?
Go to 57. Oh no, 1:57. An hour and 57. And oh no, never mind. That's wrong scene. I don't know what I'm talking about. You meant this. Look at this. This is horrible.
Okay, go on, Nick.
I gotta leave the podcast and change my pants after that one. 57:55. It was just a husband in the blue doorway, and it was just something more interesting than these kind of garbage digital shots where we get kind of, I don't know, it's a little moody, a little something hidden, a little bit of a mysterious shot. You get through the kind of doorway and make another frame kind of thing, the light on his eyes, but you know, it is what it is. A 106:45. And I think this is just kind of an interior, just in the house. I kind of like this where she kind of walks into frame here. This reminds me of something you'd see in Wild at Heart or something, where you have this kind of southwestern kind of look to the house. It's kind of pink inside with the weird archway doors and stuff. It felt more leading in with the kind of stuff we've seen before with Lynch. I'm sure we're going to talk about that in the next part of the podcast where we get the motifs that string through all his movies. And then I have one at 108:35. It's a silhouette of Laura here. Yeah. Okay. Kind of nice. I mean, when you're looking for stuff, you go, okay, this is something, this is anything. Okay, grab it. Mm-hmm. And then 2:45:15. And it's the overexposed face. The guy just got shot. Not this one. Yeah, this I would see it would be the same kind of shot that we get in Mulholland Drive, where Rita and Naomi Watts' character kind of run outside, and you get that kind of triple exposure of their faces. Yeah. They're screaming after that. The world's colliding, and
But see, that's something I don't understand. Is that like you said, Lynch has done this type of shot before. He's done double exposure, triple exposure. Why does this look so shitty?
Mm-hmm. Nah, well, it's just the quality of what he's doing, what he's using. And I guess the digital stuff he's shooting on, or he's editing on early Avid digital. I don't know. It must just be hard to do anything back then. They had no software to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess.
A flashlight on his face.
Yeah. So that's fucking Inland Empire, right?
Yeah. Well,
wait, Lee, what was your favorite shot?
I really didn't have one.
Okay.
Just the rabbits I liked.
Oh yeah, it's true. Okay.
Any of the rabbits were my favorite. Every time they came up, I was like, okay, let's go.
But even then, that's stolen from another art project.
Yeah, and that's what I like I said before, I'd rather just go watch the rabbits on YouTube.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're all up there too, right? Or on Instagram or something.
Mm-hmm. And they're a lot funnier on their own.
Yeah.
I watched them in context of this, and I'm like, okay. I watched them on YouTube, and I was like, this is
good.
I like this. Yeah.
My mom was, she left halfway through the movie, but when we were watching it and we got to the rabbit scene in this movie, mm-hmm. She started laughing. She was all hilarious. It was pretty funny, because she never saw the rabbits before, right? So
yeah, it's. I think it's a good on its own. I think it's a fantastic parody of sitcoms.
Yeah.
She just peeked through the door like the rabbits.
Well, it is a bit of a trick of the eye, though, where you imagine that it's a miniature, but then I assume these are just people in costume on a set. So you guys want to give final reviews on Inland Empire? Then we can jump to some conclusions about Lynch.
Well, I was thinking if we could do, instead of giving our final review, we would just place it in the tier list.
Okay. Yeah, we could rank them.
Or like I was planning on ranking them,
Yeah,
let's do it.
Because that's like the trend, People do tier lists all kinds,
Yeah.
Should I open the actual tier list website, or do you think this letterbox list is good enough?
I think this letterbox is good enough. I'll give a tier list for each of us,
These are the 7 we watched now.
Yes.
Interesting.
These are the ratings next to them are my personal ratings. You can ignore those. Right. Those do not reflect the podcast averages.
Mm-hmm. Are we?
I think.
Are we live?
Yeah,
we're recording now.
Okay, no, but are you guys cutting what we just said, or are we just?
No, this is all in. We're recording. Yeah.
All right, fuck yeah, dude.
I think we could all agree that Inland Empire is number 7.
Yeah, probably down at the bottom.
The bottom of the list, I think.
If Dune and Elephant Man were on this list, they would be above it.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump and say Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me at 6.
I would agree with that, yes.
With that too?
I
said Blue Velvet next.
Really? This is where we get into some friction area, because I quite like Eraserhead. Or I quite like Blue Velvet, I mean.
You're putting Blue Velvet? Wait. Nick, let me guess. You're going to put Mulholland Drive number 5.
I mean, yeah.
Oh no!
If this was my list now, starting from the top, I think I would go Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Lost Highway, Wild at Heart, Mulholland Drive, Twin Peaks, then Inland Empire. This would be my list.
Nick's list.
This is mine right now.
Screen grab it, viewers, Malaysian viewers. This is Nick Dillon's tier list of Lynch's films.
This is how I see it, at least.
Is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Mine goes Mulholland Drive, number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number one. But it's a very close to Eraserhead. Catch Me on the Day. Honestly, interchangeable. Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive. For the sake of this podcast and the consistency, we'll put Eraserhead number 1. Right?
100, definitely yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Shut the fuck up. My turn. My list. After Mulholland Drive, it's Wild at Heart.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Then it's Lost Highway, and then Blue Velvet, and then it's Dune and Elephant Man. Then it's Twin Peaks 10 and Empire. This shit one there. This is the Dante DePaganon David Lynch tier list right here.
I think the only thing I would switch, I would put Wild at Heart second. I think that would be mine.
Interesting.
Maybe this.
I like the first one better.
Maybe this.
Yeah. Oh
wow.
Oh
wow.
I think I liked Mulholland Drive more than Blue Velvet.
Really?
Oh, but you know what? The more I think about Blue Velvet, the more I like it. The more I think about Mulholland Drive, the more I don't want to watch it again.
Exactly. Wait another 2-3 months. Lost Highway is going to be at the top of the list.
That's crazy to me, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, for me, Mulholland Drive, like, because I remember last podcast, I was going to say some more shit about Mulholland Drive that I didn't get to say when we reviewed Mulholland Drive.
Mm-hmm.
For me, there's something about Mulholland Drive that just, like, for me, it captures how a dream actually is so perfectly that it's insane. Like, I've never seen dreams depicted so accurately.
Yeah.
For me, because my dreams are exactly like that,
I think Eraserhead does a better job at that.
No, because Eraserhead's too consistent. It's not as jumpy,
Oh, really? That's interesting. My dreams tend to be
yours are more linear like that?
Not necessarily linear, but yeah.
For me, a lot of my dreams, like, a thing that happens a lot in my dreams is, like, I'll have, let's say, example, Nick will be in my dream, but he won't look like Nick at all. But in my dream, that's still Nick Gillum.
Yeah, like it is.
Mm-hmm. I know it is. In the dream. But actually, he'll look like you or something,
Yeah.
Camera's fucking stupid.
That actually happens to me a lot in my dreams as well, where a person will be themselves but their bodies will be different people, but they'll always be the same person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I'll have a dream and like my brother's in the dream, but my brother will take on the form of like a bunch of my friends.
Yeah.
But I know it's always him.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, Mulholland Drive captures that with the identity crisis that they have and the name switches, you know?
Yeah. Even the, like almost every character reappears twice.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I'm like Lee's followed me on Instagram for a while. Nick, you haven't known me for that long, but like dreams are like, I tried to retell one of my dreams on my Instagram. It was fucking long, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it plays out like Mulholland Drive does in the first 2/3 of that movie. You know, a lot, very similar. So for me, Mulholland Drive really like it got me. It's like it's like that was that I was meant to watch Mulholland Drive. You know.
Huh. Yeah, and I think if we had Kyle here as well.
Yeah. Kyle
this might be our averaged out list.
Yeah.
Something around that. Yeah.
Kyle, I need you as my reinforcements, my guy. But like also like Mulholland, I don't want to go too long about Mulholland Drive because there's like 6 other movies we have to talk about of it. But like my last notes about Mulholland Drive could be like when you go through such an emotional experience like that, it shows up in your dreams very blatantly, you know?
Right.
Especially the image of the person or the ethos of that person.
Yeah.
Even if they don't look like them, even if it's Nick, but he has the body of Lee, but it's still Nick. It happens so much in dreams. And the thing is, Mulholland Drive is the only piece of media, painting, drawing, movie I've ever seen that gets it so accurately for me and my experience with my dreams, you know? So that's why for me it's a crazy movie.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wonder what the Letterboxd average ranking is.
Mulholland Drive is definitely going to be number 1.
Yeah, I think so.
Because Mulholland Drive it's much more critically acclaimed than.
Yeah, Eraserhead only has a 3.9. I'm too lazy to check all of them.
Yeah, when Eraserhead and Inland Empire are almost the same, like by fractions, they're almost the same review. I don't know how much you can take these reviews anymore. I'm starting to lose faith in Letterboxd.
Oh yeah, 3.7 and 3.9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check Mulholland Drive. I'm just curious to see what the rating is for this movie.
4.2 is my guess. Oh shit.
Ooh, on point. Because Mulholland Drive, there was a the way I discovered it was there was a ranking by BBC. They took 144 film critics and they ranked on average the best films of the 21st century, and Mulholland Drive number 1.
Oh yes, I have. Before I even knew who Lynch was, I knew that Mulholland Drive was renowned as being one of the best American movies of all time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Debatably.
You know, but Spirited Away was number 4, and that's like my favorite movie ever, you know?
Spirited Away does fucking rule.
Spirited Away fucking rocks.
It's interesting here, though, when we did Herzogly, that our rankings for, I think we did 5 on Herzog, were pretty well identical the way we ranked them. But here we have such a dispute.
It's true.
I think this could be more.
This is the end of the Monolith Film Podcast, bro.
No, maybe Lynch is more, I don't know, not provocative, but I don't know.
Interpretive?
He's tapping into different parts of how we view these kind of works. You know, we're each taking things out, and maybe this kind of dream, I don't know, the way he kind of makes his movies in this, what would you call it, like magic realism. It taps in differently with the different viewers. So like where you like Mulholland Drive and I don't kind of thing, whereas with Herzog we both like Gary the Wrath of God, and then after that it would be Strojek or something. Like we have those ranked more as good films, and these are more like our interpretations of them more. There's less interpreting in the Herzog.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Blue Velvet and Lost Highway would probably be tied for me if I could.
Yeah.
So this could go either way for me.
Mm-hmm. And like I would tie Lost Highway and Wild at Heart, I think.
You fucking
for second.
Yeah.
What's that?
You fucking love that movie, eh?
Lost Highway, I think it's good. But the thing there here with, now that we did Inland Empire, it kind of ruins my other idea where the Lynch movies come in pairs. Because this doesn't fit in the box of the pair system. This is more like a mixtape of.
Well, maybe we gotta watch the Straight Story.
Yeah, I think that just ruins everything, man.
Well, what pairs were you thinking of?
I was thinking more like Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive kind of fit together.
Yeah.
And then like maybe Twin Peaks and
Blue Velvet.
Yeah, I guess Blue Velvet and Twin Peaks kind of go to, but even Wild at Heart and Twin Peaks, I find kind of go together a bit in like the kind of kitschiness, like, you know, someone like John Waters or something. He would go into the low grade kind of stuff, and you have these big fat women or something sitting down smoking.
I think the pair for Inland Empire would be Eraserhead.
Oh, you find? I guess, yeah. You know, I can see that.
It's like they're both complete opposites of the spectrum, right? Mm-hmm. They're so opposite that their oppositeness is what makes them connected.
Yeah, I can see that too, because they're both Lynch at his most Lynch, but just opposite Lynches.
And one's at the start of his career, one's at the end of his career.
Yeah.
One's arguably his best movie, one's arguably his worst movie.
Yeah.
Not arguably.
And not arguably. And both of them are written, directed, produced, and edited and sound designed by Lynch himself.
Good point. That's true. Very good point.
I think that is the pair.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think Wild at Heart would be the standout, because if you guys recall when we did Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, my main complaint was that it just felt like Blue Velvet, but done in the universe of a TV show.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I don't like Blue Velvet that much, because I don't like that fucking suburban, you know, Laz. Well, you don't know Laz, Nick, but Lee knows Laz, and Laz is a super suburb kind of gummo kid, you know? And Blue Velvet's all about that like white picket fence, you know, kind of like suburb life shit.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm from the ghetto.
Well, now that we have these all ranked out, do you guys want to kind of go through some Lynch?
Whoa. Before you do that, though, you got to fix it a little bit there.
Let's get the proper averages up here.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Do you guys want to try and go through some recurring motifs or something, or things that Lynch that we see throughout his works, tying pieces between his works?
Yeah. So this is our ranking. This here is chronological.
Yeah.
So for those who are listening and not watching, our averaged out ranking would be something along the lines of Eraserhead number 1. Wild at Heart and Mulholland Drive end up being averaged to about a tie for second.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Velvet, Lost Highway also averaged out to around a tie.
Yeah.
And then Twin Peaks and Inland Empire ringing out the bottom.
Yeah. Twin Peaks is better than Inland Empire, at least, for sure.
Yeah. Yes, for sure, yes. Yeah. Inland Empire is a definitive worst Lynch movie ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Twin Peaks, I find it comes with the baggage of the series, though. Like that's another hard movie to kind of get it or to understand without the series.
The series comes with the baggage of this movie, because the series is actually amazing.
Like you need some kind of prior knowledge or some kind of world knowledge, like the world of the Twin Peaks, to understand the movie or to appreciate it wholly.
Yeah, and we are ranking the movie Fire Walk with Me only as a standalone.
Yeah.
If Twin Peaks the show was on this list, it would be number 1 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe second behind Mulholland Drive or Eraserhead, but Twin Peaks for me is his Dark Tower series, in my opinion. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So overall, what have we learned about Lynch? I found it interesting. Remember when we did our recap on Herzog, watching Fitzcarraldo kind of gave me a revelation and a deeper appreciation for Herzog's catalog as a whole. Inland Empire did the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Where watching it made me think, fuck, is Lynch just a fucking dummy? Was I wrong? Like, are the other movies just good by accident?
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't actually think so. But that thought did cross my mind. I think And the thing about Lynch's movies is that I kind of learned everything I needed to learn about Lynch watching Eraserhead.
Yeah.
And then every other movie I watched after that just kind of further confirmed those beliefs about Lynch and his filmography.
Mm-hmm.
I never really learned anything new. I just kind of understood deeper
how he makes his movies.
Right.
Yeah, I feel the same way. So one of the biggest motifs I find with Lynch's work, not including Twin Peaks as much, is that a lot of it is about his own personal experiences in a very abstract way. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Eraserhead, you know, like we mentioned before, that famous quote where he's in the interview and the guy's like, can you elaborate on why you think Eraserhead's your most spiritual movie? And he says no.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like we said when we talked about Eraserhead, is that if you study his life at that point in time when you're in Eraserhead, it's very clear what it's about.
Right.
It's very clear, you know?
Yeah, it's about fucking becoming a father in Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia. You know what's funny is I was actually gonna get like a white wig.
Nice.
And like a tie.
Full cosplay.
I was gonna full cosplay it, but the party shop was closed. Anyways, and you get that recurring a lot in his movies, especially like Mulholland Drive. You know, that one. It's very clearly because you could watch an interview with him and Naomi Watts, where literally Naomi Watts' character in Mulholland Drive is how Naomi Watts' auditions went with David Lynch, and he said, "This is the girl," you know. And you could see it in the movie that you could tell that even if you don't know those clues, you could tell in Mulholland Drive when there's the director talking at the coffee table, you could tell that that's David Lynch talking about some shit that happened to him in the fucking Hollywood boardroom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Same with Inland Empire, maybe not so much, but like you get a lot of his own personal experiences in movies. You know?
Oh, for sure. I kind of felt that too. Nothing I could really grasp onto because Inland Empire is ungraspable. But you know,
and also Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, you know, he plays the commissioner, the FBI commissioner, and he's like, I'm in Philadelphia, you know. That's because he used to live in Philadelphia. You know?
But Blue Velvet as well, again, we keep joking about Philadelphia, but Blue Velvet is very much about his experience with the harsh reality of the flip side of the American dream.
Yeah, exactly, you know. And another thing that I noticed in David Lynch's movies, that the way he makes films, usually, you know, if you have a prick like me and Nick, probably you now too, Lee, watching like artsy movies, you're analyzing the cameras, you're analyzing the way the shots are done, the transitions, you're like the medium is the message kind of in a way sometimes, you know.
Did you just come up with that?
No, yeah, bro. On top of my head, you know. But in Lynch, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
because then you're over analyzing it. Lynch, you got to look at the big picture of the movie and stand back and look at it macroly. Then you'll notice the symbols, because he uses symbolism, like literal symbols.
Yeah, like iconography almost.
Iconography, like literal objects in his movies that mean something. And the thing is, when you look at other movies and you analyze them in that way, it sounds like you're reaching. But with David Lynch, if you sound like you're reaching, you know you're on the right track. Because it's literally what he meant, you know? Yeah, so that's what I noticed in his movies.
Well, now that I think about it more, I agree with you completely that Eraserhead and Inland Empire would be the two that kind of pair together, because I was trying to think of recurring motifs for him in aesthetics, and we kind of get that kitschy kind of Americana feel a lot of the time, and he's always using these kind of lower grade cinema cameras you were kind of talking about in other episodes. Lee's got these kind of soap opera feeling cameras.
Yeah.
And in all the movies from Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart, Twin Peaks, Lost Highway, and Mulholland Drive, they all have, well, maybe not so much Mulholland Drive, but the first four at least have these great camera movements, long crane shots and huge crane ups, and really intricate camera movements that move between images in the same shot. And Eraserhead and Inland Empire, we get these static kind of
student film vibes.
Yeah.
Literally, Eraserhead was a student film. You know?
Yeah, pretty well.
Yeah.
Just for me, kind of little, not really story things that come back, but just kind of things that you can look at and go, oh, okay, I saw that before in another movie. We always get kind of the musical number in many of these movies. Always the kind of song and dance, and there's always a magic element to it. Like we have the fairy godmother in Wild at Heart or something, or the characters changing forms, and we get the actors playing multiple characters. We see that a lot. We also see driving, a lot of driving stuff.
It very he, in a weird way, I find David Lynch is very much a beat artist. Like part of the beat generation.
Okay.
Critiquing that whole side of Americana and the car, the freedom, the open road, all these very beat generation motifs are in his movies. But I don't know. It actually reminds me of William S. Burroughs, stuff like Naked Lunch.
Yeah.
It's from that generation, but just very surreal, but still somehow connected to those motifs.
Yeah. Like the thing is with Lynch, his movies are very, like you said, Americana. They're very American movies. And the thing is, what stops him from being like he is one of the greats of filmmaking, in my opinion. But what stops him from, for me, achieving a universal kind of like love is the fact that if you're not American or you're not from the West or side of the world, like we're like us, you're not. These aren't relatable things for you, you know. Like the whole driving on the highway and shit, dark at night. It's relatable, you know, to me a bit, you know. Hollywood and all this stuff for people in California is probably relatable, you know. That I live in LA, kind of crazy shit happens here, you know.
Yeah.
And one thing I'll say about Lynch is that I love the way he uses his magic systems in his movies. Very soft magic systems, but very mysterious, very supernatural, and very, very attuned with that Americana, you know?
Yeah. I think the things I noticed mostly that were recurring in almost every single one, obvious themes of duality in all of them.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I feel like it's an expectation versus a reality. Like in Eraserhead, it's the expectation of what it would be like to be a father versus Lynch's own experience being a father.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
His kids must be watching that movie. That we really thought of me.
Blue Velvet is the expectation of the American dream or the suburbs versus the reality that Lynch experienced in Philadelphia. Wild at Heart struck me as the expectation of romance versus the reality of the world constantly being against romance. Twin Peaks is just Blue Velvet again, but I don't know.
Adding, just Blue Velvet again, but adding context to Twin
Peaks. Right. Lost Highway, you lose me a little on this one. I'm not sure how that would...
I feel like Lost Highway kind of fits outside of that a bit.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it kind of a fun movie to watch. It's more of like an actual kind of like intense mystery movie, you know?
Because then Mulholland Drive is the expectation of working in Hollywood versus its reality. Inland Empire is the same theme, the expectation of working in Hollywood versus reality, just done poorly.
Yeah. Well, Lost Highway could be the expectation of romance and kind of marriage, how they kind of fall out of love, and he reminisces about a past stud.
Oh, that's actually a good, Well, Lynch has been divorced a few times. That makes sense.
I find all these movies are kind of doomed romances too.
Yes. Yeah. That is very recurring.
Yeah, Eraserhead with the kid that nobody wants and the wife keeps running away, and Blue Velvet, he's got this love triangle that one side is the girl next door and one is this kind of beaten woman, and then Wild at Heart, you were saying the world's against you, and Twin Peaks is the dad wants to bang the daughter, and it just goes on.
I will say, Wild at Heart, Laura Dern's performance is pretty good.
Yeah.
I love Nicolas Cage's performance.
Oh, yeah.
And it's probably his best performance.
Nick Cage in that movie is insane. I love it.
Yeah. And I love Willem Dafoe. Bobby Peru.
The fucking teeth.
Yeah, I like his gums the best, I think.
That's a great performance.
One thing we kind of missed is that Herzog and Nick Cage had a working together.
Ooh.
I think Bad Lieutenant. We might have to go to something around there.
We might just have to do a fucking Nick Cage retrospective.
I think we might have to. I watched Face Off the other day and it rocked.
It's true. We have to do Mandy eventually.
Yeah. Yes, we actually really should.
Yeah. But you know what's funny is it's Herzog joining in on the Cronenberg Lynch universe over here that we got going on.
Oh yeah.
Is it the Sutherlands that tie every movie together, Nick?
That's true, yeah.
Sutherland.
Another thing, Dante, you were talking about with Mulholland Drive, and I mentioned Eraserhead in that respect as well, is the whole dream logic of his movies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a recurring theme as well.
That's the soft surrealism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I was reading up on some of Lynch's other artwork, apart from film, like his paintings and his poetry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I didn't get into his music much, but a few things from his paintings and poetry that struck me as relevant to his film as well is he has this one piece of art where he cuts a fish up and then he tries to reassemble it.
Okay.
And he says like 3 parts of a dead fish will never make a live fish.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the idea that when, like in his movies, you can't dissect them. You cannot dissect a Lynch movie. You like Dante was saying before, you have to view it as a whole.
Yeah.
You take the whole thing in. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other one was he did this thing where he lined up a bunch of flies and then he named them.
Okay.
And then he wrote, although they are the same, change comes from the name.
What are you going to call it or something?
And apparently he has like this whole recurring theme in his paintings and in his art about language and about how when you name things, they change.
Yeah, of course.
And how he doesn't he uses words in a specific way in his art, in his painting. And he doesn't that's why he never explains his movies, right? Because once you explain the movie, no one will ever watch it the same way again. They'll always watch it that way.
Yeah. Like one thing, when you're making art, let's say for example, it's like authorial intent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus the interpretation of the viewer, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like when I make it, like for me, the best artist, you're like a great artist is one that is able to make artwork that controls the viewer's interpretation.
I 100% agree.
So that the viewer's interpretation is the same as the author's intent. Because the author, if they're good at it and they know how to read their own painting and they know what the decisions in their painting means to a viewer,
mm-hmm.
they can control how the viewer is going to see it just through what they put in the painting, you know? So I feel like a lot of times when you're making like when you're critiquing artwork at school, like at Vanny, how we would do it is that the student would tell everyone the meaning and then we critique it. But at Concordia, people critique it first and they try to interpret beforehand, you know? And then the artist can say what they want to say about their own shit. And the thing is, what's important about that is that if Lynch told us what the movie was about, and he was off a bit, we could find reasons that contradict it in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's say he's wrong. Let's say he says, you know, we said that Eraserhead's about him and his kid when he was making the movie at that time, right? But what if he says that it's about something completely different, you know? We would be like, then your authorial intent is in question, you know? It's kind of wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, how we view it defines it, you know? In a way, you know? It's a whole other debate. But the thing is, what's smart about Lynch avoiding the question all the time is that he allows that interplay.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't allow the viewers to say, oh, this movie sucks because it doesn't follow how he intended it to be, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Be open about it.
It's interesting you bring that up because that's also how I've defined good art.
Mm-hmm.
Objectively speaking, that's how I like to, like, that's kind of my objective definition of what makes art good is whether or not the artist's intent was achieved. in a way.
For me, it's not what makes it a good piece of art. Because a good piece of art can still be good even if the author didn't intend it how I see it, you know?
Yes, yeah. Subjectively.
Subjectively.
Subjectively, my definition, the definition I've used for good art in a subjective light, usually is whether or not that piece of art makes me want to create my own piece of art.
Sure, yeah.
And David Lynch does do that. When I watch his movies, I want to make a movie.
Yeah.
Very much so.
For sure.
So it's undeniable that he's a good artist, I think.
It's undeniable. Yeah, for sure.
But I think, like you said, people try too hard in the wrong ways to understand what's going on.
Yeah. It's like what we said with Mulholland, or like what you said with Mulholland Drive, where we're talking about the theater scene and there's like the theater conductor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, this is an illusion. You are in a dream. And you just said, like, I think David Lynch is just sick of fucking people not getting his movies. He has to tell you in the movie. Or like when the what's his name? Justin Theroux is he's at the board office. He's like, what am I dreaming?
Yeah.
He's like, come on. You know?
I mean, I think that's a good tie on Lynch then. We did it.
Yeah. Anything else anyone needed to get off their chest?
Oh yeah, finally. Inland Empire, 2 out of 10.
Oh.
That's your final. I was actually going to give it like a 2 or 3 as well.
Yeah, 2 out of 10. No way.
I was thinking maybe 3.5, 4.
Really? That high? 5 is an average, remember?
I know 5's average, but I mean, there's a lot.
You're saying this is almost average?
Pretty well. I mean, with the other stuff that you see, at least this has some kind of, there's a little bit of directorial spice in it where you go, I can kind of see where he wants to go with this, even if it's not achieved fully or it looks terrible or it's stupid. At least you go, well, I mean, he's thinking at least a little outside of the box, even if he's parodying himself. Like, I still like Fellini Casanova, even though he's just doing Fellini Satyricon.
Are you saying this movie is almost as good as the first Transformers movie?
First Transformers movie is a 7 for me.
You know why? It's that Linkin Park soundtrack that goes.
The second Transformers is an 8, so.
The 10th one is like a fucking 30 out of 10, bro.
Yeah.
David Lynch has nothing on the fucking.
If I could get Transformers that are dinosaurs too, come on. All right, well, that was fun. I enjoyed that retrospective, and we've started our new series now. We have the women directing horror, and we have we haven't started it yet, but the Haneke.
Another retrospective.
Yeah, Haneke retrospective.
Yeah, that is our next retrospective. Everyone can look forward to that.
Yeah, I think next week is Undecided still, or next podcast at least is Undecided.
Yes, stay tuned. It's a surprise.
We will see.
But if you guys have any suggestions what you want to see, type it in the comments. Let us know. DM us. Whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
We got
email us, DM, comment.
Shoot me a message on stuff. AOL.
There you go.
I'll get it.
MSN.
Don't message me on AOL, please. What do we got? Spotify, Google, Snapchat, all that stuff.
Snapchat.
Find us at www.monolithfilmspodcast.onion.
.tor.
Anything, any sort of social media you got? Find us there.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, Lynch was fun. Overall, what do you say? Good director?
Good director.
Good director.
Yeah, agreed.
Good director.
I give his directing a good 7.5 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
10 being Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Just in case we do a Kubrick, you know. But I give him a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Director, you know.
I don't know what I'd rate him, but I predict Lynch is probably in my top 10 directors.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But it's also not
really good directors, you know.
Yeah, that's it. It's not really fair because there aren't that many directors whose entire filmography I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Brandon Cronenberg, the 3rd film in the trilogy, will come out. It's gonna knock David Lynch out of the park. You know.
It's true.
The second one was fire, dude.
My boy BC might just keep getting better and better.
BCJR.
Make daddy proud.
Between Lynch and Herzog, what do you say, Lee? If you put them next to each other,
Herzog.
Okay,
I'd say Herzog too. I wasn't even part of those, you know.
Okay,
yeah.
I think I would agree with you, Dante. Around like an 8 probably for Lynch, but Herzog's probably a 9.5 maybe for me.
But yeah, you got me in the Herzog camp.
Yeah, because that is Lynch, too much of a.
Lynch is definitely a film studies kind of favorite director. You know.
Yeah.
Everyone that's really into artsy films is gonna love David Lynch. You know.
Yeah. But he's more of a art studies director than a film studies director.
Yeah. It's kind of what you'd expect if you go, oh, I'm watching a popular art movie. Like you're not watching a Ferris wheel go around in a circle for a while. You're going, ooh, I'm watching.
Yeah, you're not watching Color Pomegranates.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
But
we're watching Wild Strawberries.
Yeah. All right. Well, I enjoyed Lynch. Fun enough. Good talking to you guys as always, and tune in next week for a secret podcast.
Yeah, undefined.